Is cracking or popping your joints good for you? 3. So what is the pop? So the pop is just a pressure release that happens within a joint. So essentially, if we take a look at your spine, each vertebrae is connected to each other by something called a facet joint. And when those joints stiffen up and we move them past their available range of motion, you can feel a popping sensation. That pop, like I said, is just pressure being released from deep within that joint. And at that spot, a chemical reaction happens where endorphins are released and we get some short-term pain relief. Now, how long do these symptoms last? Typically, the effects from the manipulation or the pop will last anywhere between 24 to 48 hours. And those effects are usually an improvement in your mobility and then a reduction in your pain. But again, 24 to 48 hours, that's not a long time. So why is it really important that we find and add in something that gives you a little bit more of a long-term benefit? And that's what specific types of movements afterwards that keep your mobility and keep that joint from stiffening back up again. If you do not add in an active component to it, everything just kind of stiffens back up, the pressure rebuilds, and then you feel like you need to keep getting it popped over and over and over again. So it's really important that you take action, you see the right type of provider who's going to give you the things that you need to add in an active movement and make sure that you don't continue to need repeated poppings. We'll call this the stiffness continuum. And what I mean by this is we're trying to determine who might benefit from having a joint popped, okay? So if we look at this little chart here, we have people on one end of the spectrum who are very, very stiff, and then we have other people who may be very mobile. So someone here might be someone who's would consider themselves inflexible, doesn't bend, doesn't twist, doesn't move very well. Someone over here might be, the best example would probably be a gymnast, someone who's very bendy, their joints have lots and lots of motion available to them, okay? So the people who would benefit from popping their joint would be the people that fall more towards this very stiff side. So if we were to draw, let's say this is the average person, they really don't need to pop their own joints because they have enough mobility to move about the world and do all the things that they need to do without having any problems or discomfort. However, the people that probably fall in this range would definitely benefit from it. Now, what happens when somebody who's very mobile or further along this side of the chart continues to pop their joints? Well, they actually start to become more and more and more mobile. What these people actually need is they need more stability. They need their muscles to get stronger. So people who fall more on this side of the line, they actually need to spend more time strengthening and stabilizing their joints rather than improving the mobility of them. So to kind of cap this up or recap all of this, someone who is very stiff would benefit from potentially popping their joints. Someone who is very mobile or once was stiff but continues to self-manipulate can then make themselves very mobile and then create issues and injuries down the road. So what happens if you try to pop your joints by yourself without a provider doing them? Is the benefit the same? So technically, manipulation performed by a provider is taking to a joint near its restriction or end of range and then taking it just a little bit past it. So it's called a high velocity, low amplitude thrust technique. And the point of it is to get that extra range of motion. Now, can you get that yourself? No. And the reason being is because when you're moving and you're twisting and bending, your muscles are active. In order to complete a manipulation, there has to be a relaxation of some of those other structures. So are you getting the same benefit by popping yourself? No, you're not. Are you still creating probably extra range of motion that you don't need to create? Most likely. So it's best to leave the popping to the providers.